Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Everyone. So, oh, there she is. She's got her onesies on. Yay, Jen. That's awesome.
I forgot to tell my new rep I should message her.
Yeah, give her a warning, right? Okay, so we're going to get started. I have a lot of training to do tonight, so we don't have a lot of time to do too many. Well, we'll do shout outs for sure because we always have shout outs. Is there any one on here tonight that you want to give a shout out to? Any new team members?
Yes. My teammate Lydia is on here with us tonight.
Awesome. Hi, Lydia.
Yeah.
Welcome.
It's her first time joining us.
Awesome. Good, good.
And I'm not sure. Chelsea, is that you? Chelsea Brand? There she is. Chelsea's iPad. She's considering joining us. She's already on the product and is loving what she's seeing about how much fun we have.
Yeah. Awesome. Good, good, good. Are you in your PJs? Did she warn you? Awesome. Good stuff. Okay, welcome. Any other newbies we want to give a shout out to before we get some training in? No? Okay. So before I jump into B.A.N.K tonight, and I'm just going to put it on speaker because you can see me better. I just want to remind you guys for Thursday that Jen Pike is doing her dinner and movie tomorrow night. So a lot of you guys have asked like what she's going to be talking about. And her focus is going to be around the level of stress that people are experiencing and how you can reduce the stress in your life. Just really quickly, Jen Pike, she's a hormone expert. She's known in the online world is an expert when it comes to just working on the body, the gut, the hormones, the endocrine system, the whole bit. So we're going to get an hour of her tomorrow night. The flyers are out and available. If you don't have the flyer to the event, just reach out to your upline sponsor and they can show you where to get that flyer. And then, of course, tomorrow night, we always have Thursday, our 2 prospect calls where you can invite guests to and 8 o'clock. So lots to choose from for events. There is no shortage for you guys to be inviting guests. So I just want to congratulate you guys because you guys are using those calls. We're going to continue to use those calls. I know when I've been doing the Tower Talks on Monday nights and on Wednesdays, we have anywhere between 22 to 27 people on average. So you guys are doing such a great job. So keep it up. Okay. So one of my favorite trainings is called B.A.N.K. I'm just going to grab the presentation here for you guys. Okay, so tonight is going to be about participation. And what we're going to do tonight is we're going to learn about how to crack the code so that you can be a better facilitator in conversations and speak a language that the person that you're talking to is going to understand better. And I'm going to go into that in a little bit more detail. I went to a seminar probably about 3+ years ago, maybe 3-ish years ago. I dragged my new boyfriend along and it was a half day and this is what we learned. And then I took it back to Dr. Mitra Ray and our organization and we started to train on this. And over the last 3 years, we've gotten some pretty cool advanced training from B.A.N.K experts and people that are trained in how to, teach us this stuff, which is pretty cool. So we're going to dive in. This is all about personality profiling. I don't know if you guys have ever done personality profiling or not, but it's pretty cool. So be ready to participate tonight. So imagine if there were 4 different personality language that people speak. What if? And what if you knew beforehand the language your prospect or new reps were speaking? And if you knew their language, does it not make sense that you would adapt and share information according to their language for better results? And this is all about giving you guys a better chance to increase your sales and increase your close rate and get along better with people. And especially if you're starting to build team and you realize that you've got somebody on your team that just does not speak the same language, this is going to help you understand and show a little bit more compassion and understanding of where they're coming from. And this is so great to do with your friends, with your family, your kids, your partner. This is going to help you in all areas of your life. Trust me, it is just so awesome when you start to understand where people are coming from and how they operate and what's important to them. So there's going to be 4 cards, and the 4 cards are going to show up on the next page, but this is what happens. I don't have my cards in front of me, but there's 4 cards, and if I was to sit down with somebody, let's say at a coffee shop, this is what I would say to them. I say, I want you to take a look at these 4 cards. I want you to put them in order of what's most important to you. This will help me serve you better, and it will save us both a lot of time. Okay, that's typically what I would say, and then I would hand it to them. So these are the cards that I'm talking about. And what I want you guys to do tonight, this is where you're going to participate, is I want you to read each of the cards and the values. And then I want you to arrange the cards from the most important to the least important, okay? So we're going to spend a couple minutes on here. So every one of you just read them to yourself, each of the codes, and then you're going to put them in order. So an example would be if you decide that the red, the action, is your like top value card, that would go into first place. Okay, and then maybe knowledge is your last. It's not as important. It would be in number 4. So you're just going to put them in order: 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 being the most important. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do that.
Can I just take a minute to laugh at the fact that these all color code to Hogwarts houses?
Is to what?
To Hogwarts houses from Harry Potter.
Oh, that's funny. So if you have your number 1 that you've already chosen, just start putting it in the chat button. We want to see where you guys are at. So you guys can see the chat button. Okay, hopefully everyone is done. Does anybody need more time, or can I move on? Just peeking at the chat here. Okay, so let's see. I'm just looking through here. So Angela's yellow, Andrea red. We have yellow, red, yellow, yellow, yellow. Lydia is a green. Okay. We have red. We have yellow. Sonia's a blue.
Sorry, the green was wrong, Nikki. Nicole.
You're not green?
No, it's yellow.
You're yellow. Okay, so yellow. Okay, yellow, red, yellow, red, yellow, yellow, yellow. So we have 2 blues and red. Okay, Kelly red. Oh, we have a green. We have 1 green. I'm tied for yellow and green. Okay. Green and blue, red, yellow. Okay, awesome. Thank you for that, guys. Yellow. Okay, so what's really cool is that doing this over and over again, we typically in our Juice Plus business mostly attract nurturers. These are the yellows. These are the ones that are all about community, okay, and teamwork and involvement. So we typically attract more nurturers. They're the like number one. So if you do this like in a room of like 500 people, which we've done before, I would say like 60% are nurturers. Then the second one is action, and we saw that in the chat is action. And then we had some blues and we had a couple greens, but you can see that these two are usually what we mostly attract in our business. So this is going to be a really good training because now you're going to understand and learn a little bit about how you are going to speak their language, because there's a language for each one of how they need to show up in the world and what's important to them. So typically what happens, and I'm going to just give you a perspective, my code is action, nurture, and then I'm knowledge, and then I'm blueprint. And so for the first, say, 12 years of myself doing and sharing the Juice Plus business, I treated probably most people like action. So if I'm an action and I talk to a nurturer like I would talk to an action, I would scare a nurturer away from this business because I'm not speaking their language. If I'm talking to a knowledge and I'm again speaking in my action, I'm going to scare the knowledge. If I speak to a blueprint and act like a red in front of a blueprint, I will scare away a blueprint. So the only person that I would probably have any luck closing a sale or closing them as a partner would only be action. And so when you start to look at my leaders, most of my leaders are action because that's the only language that I knew how to speak for them. So we're going to get into it a little bit now so you can understand what that could look like and how you can get better at starting to communicate differently and speak people's proper language. So here's the thing, despite what you may have heard, sales is not just a numbers game, but it's also a people's game. So according to the Chelly Group, a growth play company, only 18% of buyers will buy from a salesperson who doesn't match the buyer's personality type, versus 82% success when personality types are aligned. That's a huge jump. So if you're having trouble right now in your business making like closing, probably one of the reasons why is that you're speaking your language only and you're not showing any flexibility in the conversation to show up differently. And so B.A.N.K is the only methodology in the world scientifically validated to predict buyer behavior in less than 90 seconds using this personality science. So it's really cool. And a lot of the shining star that have been around a while use this to crack the code so that we have a better chance to close them. So again, we're going to go through each one of them so that you understand it a little bit better and what we're talking about. So again, red, here's red values: freedom, flexibility, spontaneity, action, opportunity, excitement, attention, stimulation, competition, winning, fun, and image. Okay, that's a red. So here is the behavior of an action. They negotiate skillfully, they're optimistic, and sometimes can act on blind faith. Be graceful. Yeah, I guess so, be graceful. And they're really good at a lot of stuff, including sports and arts. They love beauty. They recognize and go after opportunity. They try to find a better way to do things. They're rebels against rules, routine, and structure. They take risks getting things done. They're very entrepreneurial. They learn best on hands-on. They dislike boredom or waiting, and disliked abstract ideas and useless theories. So there's your action. And here's some sales tips when you find out that they are an action. So you need to be cool and dressed to impress. You have to display excitement and enthusiasm. skip the small talk and get straight to the bottom line. And I've got a good story on that. Have a sense of urgency, and remember, time is money. Time is money for action. Have fun and sell the sizzle, lifestyle, and the dream. Don't overload them with details, charts, or too much information. Introduce them to other successful, powerful influencers, and be confident and charismatic. So I just want you guys to reflect if you guys have ever experienced, you know, somebody that potentially was in action, but you didn't know how to talk to them and maybe you scared them off. So I'll give you an example. And you're on the call, Angela. Let's use you as an example.
Okay.
Okay, so you're a nurturer.
Yes.
I'm an action. And when you met me and I was, you know, talking to you and I didn't know the bank code, what was your first impression of me and this opportunity? What happened? What was running through your brain?
What was running through my brain? I was feeling a little overwhelmed, I felt a little daunted by it was just a lot.
Yeah.
A lot to take in.
Right. So when I was like, come on, Ange, let's go fast. And oh my gosh, we have all these bonuses. And I was treating you like I would treat myself.
Yes.
Right.
And there's not a competitive bone in my body, so I could not relate to you at all.
Right.
With the things that were very enticing to you didn't mean much to me.
Right. Exactly. So I'm lucky that I never scared Angela away. But when I looked at all my front lines, honestly, guys, most of them were nurturers, and I scared most of the people away. In their eyes, I was a hard ass, I was tough, I was, you know, I wasn't maybe that, like having that softness and that gentleness and all of that stuff. So this was a game changer for me when I learned this 3 years ago, because what it allowed me to do is to step back and start to understand each of my teammates and to understand how I have to serve them, how I have to slow down when I'm talking with my nurturers and like chill it. And I have to adjust accordingly. And this is just such a game changer, guys, because if you don't do this, your chance of closing someone is going to be about 25%. So if you're a nurturer, if you don't learn how to talk to an action person like myself, you're going to lose me. So Angela was really smart when she found an action person last fall, right? Last year.
Yes.
Her name was Karen. So what did you do?
I said, Nicole, I need your help. I have a red.
Right. And so you got her on with me.
Yes.
I helped sign her up because I knew how to talk to her.
Yeah.
And that's really important. So the nurturers on here, if you do run into a Nicole, a Jen Brennan, a Melissa Hyde, because we're all three action, there's two things that are going to happen. Either you have to learn to talk to us our language, or we will be out, like done, or you get one of us on to talk to your action person. Does that make sense? Because even Karen told me, Angela wouldn't have closed me. She wouldn't have closed me because she's a nurturer. And Angela back then wasn't ready to speak to an action because we can be really scary. We can be really intimidating and almost like a bully at times. We don't see it because we're just like, we're moving so fast through the day. And I'll have to catch myself when I'll get like, you know, beautiful Patricia sends me messages all the time. She's one of my nurturers. And she's like my mom. She sends me like these messages and they're long. And a typical action would be I would whip through it and quickly send a message like, all good, awesome, good, like short, sweet, because I'm on to my next 20 messages. And I have to stop sometimes and really listen and get back and answer it in a more nurturing way. if that makes sense. But it goes both ways, right? Because now that Patricia and Angela both know that I'm action, that in my sharpness of maybe responding, they won't take it personally. They're now understanding that, oh, that's just Nicole, and this is just how she operates. Like, she moves through the day fast and slick, and sometimes doesn't breathe. So do you see how that can go either way? How it can help you understand your leaders, right? When I sat down in Ottawa with Karen, who was in action, and she had 4 or 5 of her team members, and she was like, I'm getting so frustrated, my team's not working. And then when we did the bank coach, she's like, oh my gosh, I attracted all these nurturers and they have no desire to get the bonus money or go fast or make things happen. And it just, like, the light bulb went off for her, and she said, I've been leading them wrong. But she didn't know how to lead other than to treat them like herself. Okay, so are you starting to understand this concept? So that's the action. So nurtures on this call, guess what? You want to recruit us. You want to recruit an action, because we get done. And if we're inspired, and I remember meeting Jen Brennan for the first time at a coffee shop in Newmarket, and she literally, like, screeched in. She was brand new, and Melissa was there, and Melissa's like, I'm warning you, she's a red, but we didn't know red, but she's like, she's one of us, but she's even, like, more, like, out there. So she's like, I'm warning you, she's coming in and she's leaving fast. So let's remember, she's like, okay, tell me what to do. She's like, okay, I got 10 orders. I want to get to sales coordinator this month. Has anybody done it in like 30 days? We're like, nope. And she goes, great. Okay, I'm going to break that record. And she's talking fast, and she's looking at her watch, and she's ready to leave the coffee shop. And she's like, okay, so I'm leaving here. I need to get 20 orders, another rep. And she's like, okay, done. I'll make that happen in the next, like, 15 days. Anything else, I gotta go. And that was her. Like, that's all she had. Jen Brennan, do you remember that?
Yeah, but when I hear it like that, I'm like, oh my God. But I do. So here's the thing, right? Like, I had like two kids, a third baby on the way, and I had like a full-time, my own business, which was like 60 plus hours a week or whatever. So the idea of another business at the time was so overwhelming. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot, but like, I don't have time to talk about all the details because I'm not a detailed person. So now knowing this, like my new rep, knowing her colors is so great, because me, it's like, okay, well, here's the marketing plan, blah, blah, and go and just do it and just go get people and you're fine. Whereas like what Ange and Nicole are talking about, it's so refreshing to understand that people work in a different way, and people like knowing how that person is going to work, and it makes it so much easier. And then you don't have any expectations too. It's like you all get so excited when you get a new rep, and then you want them to do all these things for them and just for the business. And then if it doesn't happen, it's not meant to be disappointment. It's just everybody goes at their own pace. Like me going that rapid speed, looking back, that's stupid. But at the time, that was where my brain was at. And so I think just being able to work with people where they're at and what their comfort level is so awesome. And yeah, bank codes, it's wicked.
Yeah. So a couple questions that you could ask to know if somebody's in action right out of the gates would be something like, are you a competitive person? Have you ever been in competitive sports? Or if I was to show you some extra bonus money this month, would that interest you? And right away, you'll be able to tell. They're like, bonus money? Yeah, show me the money. Like, right, actions are usually like, yes, I want bonus. And then there'll be some, like the nurturers will be like, maybe, like, okay, like, but they're not like it's not their everything. Okay, so let's move on. And then we'll open it up for questions and answers at the end so we can get and help you. And if there are questions on your mind right now, just put them in the chat button and we can go back. Okay, So our nurturers, these are the ones that we mostly attract. So you want to make sure that you know how to speak their language. Relationships, authenticity, personal growth, significance, teamwork, involvement, community, charity, ethics, harmony, morality, contribution. This is so important because you're going to have a big amount of people that are drawn to our business. And if you do not speak their language, they are out of here. Now, can nurturers still get to the top of our marketing plan? Absolutely. Sandy V, who's one of the top national marketing directors in Canada, is a total nurturer. And she got to the top because people will ask them. And the cool thing is when you look at our leadership, we're all colors. Like all the colors can show up at the top. We just get motivated by different things, that's all. So let's look at yellows here. So these are our nurturers. Yeah, so this is the behavior of nurturers. They dislike inauthentic or fake people. They enjoy training, motivating, and counseling others. They need interaction with people, groups, and teams. They seek a deeper meaning beyond material possessions. They show appreciation easily and in many ways. They avoid conflict, contention, and excessive competition. You want to make sure that like they're usually enthusiastic and passionate. They're on a quest for self-actualization and want the same for others. Be potential oriented above all, and be supportive and to empower others to be their best. So that's kind of the characteristics of nurture. Sales tips. So how do you work with the nurture? Be authentic, be transparent and genuine. Show them that you care more about them than the money. That's huge, right? Care about their success and their family and what's happening in their world. Introduce them to your team or tribe. Get them connected with others in your community right away. Talk about the cause that you are passionate about. Share your why and how they can support your mission. Be warm, friendly, and nurturers love hugs. They are usually the huggers, right? Action, the way that action shows up is usually like a high five or a jump or a like hip bump, you know, that type of stuff. But nurturers are huggers, and to maintain good eye contact. So if you're sitting down at the coffee shop or on Zoom and you are talking to a nurturer and you keep on looking at your clock and your phone's going off and you're like, oh, I got to get my phone, you're going to lose the respect of a nurturer right away. They want your full attention and they want to feel loved and valued. And if you are this crazy action person that's like in and out in 20 minutes and you know you're not asking them questions about who they are or their family, they're going to be like out of there. They're not going to sign up with you. They're not going to they're not going to want to be part of your team. So what else did I want to say about that? I think what's really important, which I've learned about nurturing, is you just have to hold a safe place for them and they'll develop and grow at their own time. Because I know if I would have pushed Angela or if I would have pushed Patricia into what I wanted, which was, come on, we got to, you know, if I would have grinded them, they probably both would not be here with me today. But, you know, Patricia's a sales coordinator. Angela is a brand new qualified senior sales coordinator on her way to SSC. So if I didn't know how to speak their language, they wouldn't be with me today. So that's what I mean about really working with the nurturers. So you want to really, really get good at working with the nurturers. Okay, the blues. Stability, structure, systems, planning, process, predictability, responsibility, duty, rules, credentials, titles, and tradition. So blueprints, expect everyone to follow the rules and regulations, require people to keep their word, set up and implement predictable systems, trust proven authority, see the world in black and white, accept only a time-tested and proven establishment, learn best through memorization, recall and drill, agenda-driven, value roots and home, dislike people who question authority, work best with systems and routines, and learn from past mistakes. So here's my question. If you're meeting a blueprint, do you show up late? No, blueprints do not like to be late. They're typically the ones that show up 15 minutes early to a meeting and are looking at their clock. And if you are late, they've already judged you for probably not wanting to work with you. So you need to be punctual with the blueprints. How do they greet you? Typically with a business card and some space in between. They're typically very, very professional, very, very calm. So you can imagine if an action comes screaming into the coffee shop where there's a blueprint and they're 5 minutes late and they're disorganized and they got crap all over in their purse and that, and they're trying to, get their stuff together, you'll lose the blueprint. They'll be gone. They'll be like, I cannot work with this person. I need somebody that's organized. So if you're like finding out if you're going to be working with a blueprint, they need to know that we have systems in place. They need to know that we have a step-by-step process of doing this business. If you're a nurturer and you're talking to a blueprint and all you do is talk to them about stories, you're going to lose the blueprint, right? Nurturers typically just want to tell stories. Oh my gosh, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. And the blueprints are like, I just want to, like, they want the system, okay? So blueprint. Sales tips. So be professional and organized, be on time, have a step-by-step plan. Don't be too pushy. Provide them facts, proof, and references. So like having the clinical research would be good for blueprints. Having printed out, you would want to bring something like this, a binder to the meeting. You would want to have everything printed out. You'd want to have your step-by-step guide of how to do it. You'd want to have your shred guide printed out so you could go through what the shred would be step by step. You have to be organized with your blueprints. And of course, so that's the biggest thing, is just the systems for them. Okay, and the last one, and then we're going to go into kind of some examples and some questions. So then we have our green, our knowledge, learning, intelligence, logic, self-mastery, technology, research and development, science, universal truths, expertise, competence, accuracy, and the big picture. Dr. Mitra Ray is a knowledge. Jen Pike, knowledge. Kelly Skinner, knowledge. I have a quick story that I want to share with you. Kelly Skinner is on Jen Brennan's team. She joined us a few years back, and Jen's like, okay, we're going to do an event for you. It's going to be called Boss Babes. You're going to get a place in a cool restaurant. We're going to order appetizers. We're going to get wine. You're going to invite a bunch of people. It's going to be a really cool event. And we're going to, share some stories. And, Kelly's like, oh, and, make sure there's some science. And, we forgot about what she was saying. And we just went up and we did stories, and we shared it like us 3 actions. It was Melissa, Jen, and myself. And we were so excited, and we high-fived, and we thought we did a killer job. And then Kelly Skinner, I think at the end, Jen, called you, and she wanted to, I think, quit the business because she's like, oh my gosh, this was like a horrible event for me. I never want to do an event like this again, because we didn't know this. We did not know this. This probably was maybe even 4 years ago, Jen. That's how long ago we went down. So we devastated her, because what she was looking for was a prevention plus with a doctor that's going to go through all of the research, and that's what she would have felt good with. So we convinced her to stay on our team. We convinced her, and we apologized. And the next step that we did was we actually did get a doctor down there that ended up doing a prevention plus her style, something that she was confident, because this was her first value.
Yeah, that was so funny. I just want to add to that, guys.
Yeah, please.
We thought that it was an amazing event. We're like, that event was so good. It was so fun. We had the best time. We thought everyone had the best time. And when we called her after, she was like, that was the worst night of my life. I hated everything about that event. I'm never doing a Boss Babes again. If you ever make me do that, I'm going to quit the team. So yeah, you have to read your team. This is also a girl that came to her first conference, and the entire conference, all I did was say, are you having fun? Like, you don't seem like you're having fun. Like, you seem like you're, upset or like something's wrong. And she was like, no, I'm having fun. Like, no, it's fine. Like, I'm having a good time. Anyways, this went on for like 2 days until she finally pulled me aside and said, Jen, I need to teach you how an introvert works. Introverts, you're an extrovert and you get around people and you're like pumped up and you want to go out after and you want to go out for drinks and you want to party until 4 o'clock in the morning. She's like, I'm an introvert, and when we're around big groups of people, we need to recharge our batteries. We need to have time to marinate. We take all the information that we've just learned. We need to go home and be alone in our room. And we love that. And she's like, you are an extrovert and I'm an introvert. And I am having a great time. And you don't have to worry about me, but I just need you to know that I need to recharge my batteries. And that in that moment was, it was like an aha moment for me in my business and in my life. And obviously I've got lots of introverted friends, but I just needed to be reminded of that, because sometimes we forget that people just need to like go and be away from people and kind of have their own time. Whereas someone like me, like I want to go out. Right. So anyways, it was, it was cool.
Awesome, Jen. So here's knowledge. They trust logic. They map out a strategy. They're precise in speech. So you can't, like, a knowledge will not wing it. If you're like, oh yeah, just get up here and tell a story. No, they need to plan 2 weeks in advance, and they're going to have it on little cards, and they're going to say every single word. They need structure. They're attracted to science. They like long-term results. What else can I talk about? Resolve conflict logically. Using diagrams and models to communicate, self-critical, and they do not like small chit chat. Okay, just get right down to the point. So in my experience, I've actually only had one person deny doing the bank code. I mean, for me, it's really easy. I asked them to do it, and every person except one person would not do the bank code for me. And guess who it was? It was a knowledge. They were totally skeptical. They're like, I'm not doing this. You want to code me? You're not coding me. So if you run into the possibility of a knowledge, and this was a male, he was not open at all to like trying to figure him out at all. It was quite funny. And so as soon as he said that, I was like, okay, I know who I'm dealing with. I don't even need to code him. I already know what his code is. So sales tips for knowledge, obviously to be smart and know your information, provide them with resources, documentation, studies, stay logical. Don't get overly emotional or excited with knowledge. So you have to kind of mirror their energy. Their hello is kind of like Star Trek, which is like lots of distance and kind of like a hey, almost like stay over there, don't touch me, this is my sacred space. Be able to debate and defend your product, be able to justify your price, connect with them on the subject matter, like the expert, and give them time to think. Okay, they need lots of time to think. So I'm not going to go through all of this here, but here's your homework. Homework is to find out each team member's code this week and talk about how you can better work together and create the right events for their language. And we're going to just stop sharing here. So the other thing too that's really cool about bank code, if you go to our website, teambethechange.com, there is a title tab up there called bank code, and there's a 20-question survey that you can do and get emailed an even deeper explanation of your bank code so you understand it a little bit more. You can do that with your partner, you can do that with your kids. It's such a fun thing to start to play with. Like, I know my codes for my kids now, and it allows me to be a better parent, understanding that me, they think I'm the crazy mom. Like, oh my gosh, like my mom is so crazy. Like, oh, she just posed naked on a book, like vomit, right? Like she's like, that's what my kids think of me. They're just like, she's insane. Whereas I've got a blueprint and I got a nurturer. So I have to work with both of my kids very differently and speak a very different language to both of my children. But it helps me now have a lot more compassion. But then I've been able to teach them about how to work with me and what makes me happy and what's important on values. So it's a really, really cool, it takes some time and some practice. But I just think it's so important for you guys to understand this basic, like I'm just teaching you guys basic 101 right now on it. But I find that that's all I knew in the beginning is like the basics, but the basics so helped me be more compassionate, be a better leader, close more of the sales. And what you can do is I actually just have a picture on my phone of the 4 cards. And all I do is I will send it to somebody and I'll say, can you do me a favor? Can you just put these in order for me? And then I can better serve you. And then right away, I know how to present to them. I know how to talk to them. I know if I'm, if I'm going to do lots of science, if I'm going to do lots of, so it's really awesome. And so if you've got team under you, I would really recommend when you're kind of keeping tabs on your team members that you actually know what code they are so that you can better engage with them. So I'm going to stop talking. Does anybody have any comments or questions about the training tonight, or do you guys need some clarity? There you go. Yeah. So Marie says she's in action, and I definitely, yeah, it's easy. Actions, we can scare anyone away except our own color. And you're probably attracting a lot of nurturers. So it's a great opportunity for you, as we say, is turn down the dial if you're in action. Turn down the dial. And turn up the dial if you need to, if you've got another action in front of you. You should see me when I'm talking to an action. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, yes, yes. Because I so know how to talk to them. Like, it's so easy. Like, it's easy. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm closing this one. It's easy. But let me tell you, I still get uncomfortable when I have to start talking the different language because it's not natural for me. Like, you're not going to learn this overnight. You have to practice. But now I've planted the seed for you. So now you can start to think about it a little bit differently when you have those conversations. Melissa, hi, do you want to just share a few words, and maybe Sarah, just about what B.A.N.K's done for you and how it allows you to adjust?
I think you've really covered everything. But yeah, it makes you understand your strengths as well, and understand you have more compassion for people. I find I do, when you understand that's just the way they tick. And vice versa with my team, why I can drive them crazy because I'm like, whoa, full on all the time. And when you understand why, it's so much easier to, I don't want to say get along, because we all get along, but just to work with them and make them feel comfortable. And yeah, it's been great, business and home, everything. It's like, oh, that's why. Totally get it. And once you learn it, I find the personalities come out even more because you notice all the traits of those colors in those people. And I've got the top color. We have 2 reds, 2 greens. No, 2 reds, blue, green. Anyways, we have the whole thing. Everybody is a different color in my family. So it's been great.
Yeah, I think it just provides so much more compassion and understanding, right? Instead of forcing them. How many times do we force somebody to be like us, right? And like, think about in a marriage, if you guys are like opposite and you guys don't understand that, and you're not coming together to kind of work together, and like, you honor my red and I honor your yellow, and it can really create a lot of chaos. Sarah, did you want to say anything about bank code?
Exactly what Melissa had said. You guys have been training on it for a bit, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't really pay too much attention to it. My red. I didn't want to have to do anything else. And I thought I was a very strong yellow, which I am, but over this whole journey, I definitely I'm a strong red also. But yeah, it definitely has helped me be more compassion is a perfect word that I would use in helping team and not get frustrated, and not frustrated in a like a mean way, but I just was like, why are people not getting this? Why can't they just do it like this? So it definitely has helped. I've been using it since conference when you did the training. I was like, okay, maybe I should have a look at this.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, you can definitely be a combination. And as you get better at understanding the 4 languages or the 4 codes, you'll end up being able to adjust more in a more natural way, with like going back and forth, and you'll be able to, like, oftentimes I don't even need to give cards anymore. I just ask them basic questions. Like, you guys could ask some basic questions too without even giving the cards away. So, you know, if you want to find out if they're a knowledge, you'd ask a question like, is research important to you? If it's an action, we're like, nah. Is money important to you? Yes. Is like community. So it's almost taking a few of those values and asking the question, even just by the way they dress or the way that they give you a greeting, you can tell right away, and then you can adjust accordingly into the presentation or the conversation. Even just asking for time. How much time do you have today to meet with me? An action is gonna say, like, fast, like I can squeeze in 20 minutes, right? Where you know, a nurturer would be, oh, I've got 2 hours to hang out with you. They just want to be your friend, and they just, you know, yeah. So I've again reminded you, go to teambethechange.com, do the bank code survey, learn a little bit more about you, and start to play around with it. There actually is a book that you can get. It's Breaking the Bank Code, I think it's called. No, Why We Buy. It's called Why We Buy. And I do have it, and I have read it, and it's really good. And I know this is a training on bank code, but could you speak to the May bonuses? Yeah, I definitely can. So yeah, so there you go. That was like 101 basic bank code training. I've planted the seed. Now you guys can start to play in some practice. Yeah, just as a reminder for May bonuses. So anybody that signs up in the month of May, brand new partners, and I believe we've actually got 50 new partners in Canada already, which is going to be another record-breaking month, which is incredible. And congratulations to all of you for bringing on new partners and inspiring people to join our mission. And so, yeah, we're really got this amazing double RQSC bonus happening this month. So anytime in the month that you sign up, you have 30 days from your first order to get about 14 customers. 14 3 blends is what we say, 14 orders, customers, and that can include your partners. So if you sign on a couple partners, they're volume 2. And you have a chance to earn $750 in bonuses, plus all of your retail profits. So on average, I've been doing the calculation, it's anywhere between about a $1,200 to $1,500 check in the first 30 days. You got to work it though. You got to do some events. You got to show up. You got to put some effort into it. It just isn't going to come through, you know, calling a couple people. You got to put the time in, but we show you how to do that. We train you. We've got like 6 prospect calls. We do launch calls privately in Facebook as well, and on Zoom. So there's lots of opportunity for you to kind of kickstart and really get this business off the ground. And I know that we've already got some people that have hit QSC on the team this month, which is exciting. They're going to get some big bonuses, which is always fun when we get to see our Are people earning and putting more money in the bank account? So that's all I had. Is there any other questions or comments before we wrap up tonight? No, everyone's quiet. You guys are like chat, 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 chat.
I think my hold up with it is like the prospects. If I get a new team member or then I ask them, which seems easier to me, but I like what you said about, can you put these in order so I can better serve you?
Yeah.
Like with a prospect. I think it's like, I don't know when in the conversation to ask, I think, or show them the cards. Like
yeah,
it would
I would
be
think
better
just
at
right
the
away,
beginning.
just like right away. Like if I was to get somebody like on the Zoom, right? Like let's say it's a new Zoom and it's a prospect, and let's say maybe you're doing even a three-way. Say, hey, could you do me a quick favor?
Mm-hmm.
Or oftentimes I'll get like the person that's on the three-way to send them the picture and get them to do it before we jump on.
Yeah, but I guess I'm thinking about people that like my social media posts and I'm starting to get to know them. It would be beneficial if I knew it beforehand, but I find it difficult to throw this at them. But maybe if I take it from how can I serve you better, or it'll help me serve you better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can go back and forth a little bit with a little conversation, like, so it's just not so like in your face, because again, we know that we attract a lot of nurturers, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, get to know them a little bit and just say, hey, you know, could you do me this favor? I have this like really cool 90-second exercise. You'll love it.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to send it to you. Can you just put them in order? Then it'll help me better serve you and get you the right information.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess it'll be different with everyone, right?
Yeah,
like
it will. Just play with it. Yeah. I mean, I do have the cards in my wallet. So typically when I am face to face with someone, I'll just pull them out. And I've done it. Like I've done it at my new hairdresser. I was like, hey, can you do me this favor? Can you like, you know, and then I'm like, oh, okay, now I know my hairdresser's action. And then I've done it at the coffee shop, you know, where I'll sit down with somebody and right before I'm like, right, I said, even before we get started, can you just do me a big favor? And this will help me right out of the gate serve you better. And like I said, I've only gotten one no, and that was over the phone by a knowledge where he just wasn't ready to go there because he, you know, that was just too freaky for him because he's like, whoa, what is this? Like, you're going to analyze me? Like, and then I was like, oh, okay, we got a knowledge here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Oh, there you go. Yes, QSC for you. Awesome. Anybody else? Any comments, questions? Feeling good? Planted the seed? Just have fun with it. Just it's a really good exercise. Start off with your partner and your kids. Do it within your own household first. Get everybody to do that survey online and see where everybody fits in. And you'll start to have these like mind-blowing like epiphanies of like, oh, either like, that's why I never get along with that child. That's why I always fought with my ex for 20 years. Oh my gosh. Yeah. 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 So I'll tell you one funny story. It was, as we'll end this. So I first learned about bank code, not from Jane War. Is it Jane? Yeah, Jane in Ajax. I actually went on a blind date. I went on a blind date and we sat down and he totally bank coded me. And I'd never heard of bank code before. And he literally pulled out the 4 cards and said, could you do me a favor? Can you do this exercise? This is before we even ate or even like ordered a bottle of wine. And I said, like, I've never done this bank code before. I've never heard of it, but I'm cool. I'll do it. So I did it. And then I'm like, okay, you do it for me. Cause now I'm curious about like your colors. And then he kind of explained. And then it was so funny. Like immediately he's like, oh my gosh, you're like exactly like my ex-wife. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're like exactly like my ex-husband. And we both laughed and we giggled and we said, this isn't going to work, is it? And we both were like, nope, not going to work. And I'm like, so can this just be like, I'm really hungry. So can this just be like a new friend date? But that's it. And honestly, it was awesome. It was like my first experience to bank code. And I was like, okay, this is cool. really cool. So anyways, guys, nice to see you. I'm so excited about tomorrow night with Jen Pike. So hopefully you guys are building for that and getting prospects for that awesome event tomorrow night. So have a good night. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. And yeah, it was funny, hey? I've got our PJs on, all ready for bed. Good night, everyone.